In this brief tutorial, we're going to look at working with high frame rate media. Now, high frame rate media, if you remember from the last course on cinematography, is basically when you are recording something and you are filming with more frames per second, so a higher frame rate. This allows you to then go back in post-production here in the edit and slow down the footage. Now there's other ways you can kind of slow down the footage with other tools and techniques and stuff like that, but nothing looks as good as actual slowed footage from an overcranked camera. And overcrank is another name for shooting high frame rate media. Now, I have this exercise project here, highframeratemedia.prproj, but this is going to be a little bit different on your system than it is on mine. I included in my project here this file, which you will not have. This is several gigabytes in size and would take a long time to download just for this one example. So you will only have this file, which is really the only one we're going to be working with. I just wanted to use this as an example. Now, some footage like this one here, this is that clip that I've used a little bit of Tayani when her eyes were white. This is the original footage from my camera, and I wanted her hair blowing, and I wanted it to be like really beautiful and organic. Now, what I need to do, it's going kind of slow so I can take down the quality slider here. So I'll take that to the 8th. And there we go. Now we see just her hair is blowing just very softly. This was recorded at 48 frames per second. But in my camera, I told my camera that I'm going to be using this in a 24 frames per second project, so it automatically slowed it down for me. So I bring it into my project, and it already has the frame rate of 23.976, so I don't have to worry about that. But some cameras don't do that. So I'm just going to delete this clip so I have what you have here. Some cameras, like the GoPro, which shot this clip here, don't have that feature. So you have to come into post and do it yourself. So I want to show you how to do that. As we can see here, this frame rate here is 120 frames per second, roughly. We'd say it's 120 frames per second. So if I were to then drag this down to the new sequence icon like this and create a new sequence with it, this sequence would be 120 frames per second. And then when I play this back, it's really jerky and going really quick. And it's not slow motion at all. So I'm actually going to undo this. I'm going to throw away this sequence actually. And what we need to do instead is right click on a clip that has a high frame rate, go to modify, change interpret footage, and then over here where it says frame rate, use frame rate from file 120 frames per second, we want to say no, assume this frame rate. And I'm going to type in 23.976. I can just hit tab to accept that. And I'll go ahead and click OK here. And now the frame rate says 23.976, the frame rate of my project. So now I could drag it down to the new sequence icon to create a new sequence with it. And now when I play it back, let me just go to something a little bit more dazzling and impressive. I play this back. It's super buttery slow motion, and you just can't get this kind of really smooth playback, this really smooth motion when you don't have an overcranked camera. Again, this is something that happens on set with the cinematography, but as an editor, this is how you use high frame rate media.